After episode 8, I thought I understood things. I didn't. Episode 9 throws more confusion towards us, and we are not ready for it. The penultimate episode of Season 1 opens with H.G. Tannhaus asking a question that has haunted humanity since the dawn of civilization. Were we created by God? Or are we simply a product of evolution? And if so, what is humanity's ultimate purpose? Then we go back to 1953, where Greta and Bernd decide to tell police about their missing son, Helge. Daniel tells Egon that Bernd has officially filed a complaint about his missing son. Egon mentions that Ulrich had also reported his missing son and was actively looking for Helge. Meanwhile, at Egon's home, a key detail comes out. Doris asks Agnes about her husband, and Agnes reveals that he was a pastor, but not exactly a man of faith. She admits he wasn't a good person, and even says that sometimes she thinks it's for the best that he's dead. That now, at least, she's free. And, of course, the only pastor we know in Winden so far is Noah. Back at the Doppler mansion, Greta confides in Noah that she never really wanted her son. She even admits she prayed to God to take him away, because she feared he might not even be Bernd's son. In the meantime, Egon spots Ulrich walking along the edge of the forest. Egon tells Ulrich to stop, but Ulrich runs away. Egon chases after him and eventually arrests him for the attempted murder of Helge, since Helge is still alive, of course. Then the chaos shifts to 1986, where Hannah asks Katharina if she knows who got Ulrich sent to jail for assaulting her. Katharina shakes her head, but Hannah tells her it was Regina. Even though we know the truth, it was Hannah all along. Back at the police station, a frustrated Egon has no choice but to release Ulrich. There's just not enough evidence. That's when Jana steps in. She slaps Egon and warns him to stay away from her family, even threatening to take him off Mads's case. After Ulrich is released, Katharina spots Regina walking toward them. She accuses Regina of lying to her grandfather about Ulrich, as a revenge for what happened when they left her in the forest. Things escalate quickly. Katharina knees Regina in the stomach, and Ulrich tells her to stop. Suddenly, a young man appears, yelling at them to back off. Katharina tells him to mind his own business, but he demands an apology. When she hesitates, he pulls out a gun and warns them. Don't touch Regina again, or there will be consequences. The young man turns to Regina and reassures her that everything will be okay, but then he collapses. She sees he's bleeding and needs a doctor, though he refuses. He allows her to bandage him at her house and introduces himself as Alexander. Alexander returns to the forest, carrying a plastic bag. Inside, there are 2 passports. One of them is in the name Boris Niewald, with his own picture. The other is in the name Alexander Kohler, but with someone else's face on it. Before burying the bag, Alexander memorizes the name Alexander Kohler and the birth date, January 21st, 1965, as if engraving it into his mind for the future. Meanwhile, Hannah is hiding behind a tree, silently watching every move he makes. Then we see Claudia, climbing down into the caves, with Geiger counter in hand. She goes deep inside the caves and spots the yellow barrels, which are full of nuclear material. Then, out of nowhere, her long-lost dog, Gretchen, comes running toward her. And yes, Gretchen has traveled through time, from 1953 all the way to 1986. Claudia drives to the Doppler mansion and questions Bernd about last summer's incident. He admits a small radioactive leak happened. Only a few people know, and all were paid to stay quiet, warning her there are no absolute truths, only the story she chooses to tell. Then, at the power plant, Claudia is interrupted with surprising news. A friend of Regina's has come by, looking for a job at the nuclear plant. Claudia is taken aback. She didn't think Regina cared much about boys or even had friends. The young man, Alexander, introduces himself. He says he's new in town, works as a metal worker, and just wants a chance. Claudia politely apologizes, explaining that she doesn't need anyone at the moment. But maybe that could change soon. Alexander assures her he'll come by the next day, leaving the conversation with a sense of quiet determination. Eventually, Claudia offers Alexander a job, one he must keep completely secret. She watches as he seals the steel door in the caves, making sure no one on the other side can witness the barrels. Jumping to 2019, Hannah opens a cupboard and pulls out a box. Inside, she finds Alexander's bag, the passport in the name of Boris Niewald, and his gun. Meanwhile, Charlotte listens to Ulrich's voicemail, learning about Helga's role in the children's kidnappings back in 1986. Suddenly, Katharina bursts in, slamming her desk and demanding to know where Ulrich is. Charlotte explains that he's suspended, therefore she does not know where he is. Katharina bangs on the Conwald front door, demanding to know where Ulrich is. She shoves Hannah, firing questions about how long their affair lasted, where it happened, and why Hannah seems to enjoy destroying lives. Hannah tells her it's over and lies, claiming she ended it and never wanted it to begin, that Ulrich wouldn't let up and planned to leave Katharina anyway. Then she delivers the final blow. Ulrich doesn't love her anymore. Katharina bursts into tears, and Hannah cautiously tries to soothe her. At the Tiedemann home, Bartosz notices an old woman entering the backyard. Curious, he goes to meet her, and is shocked to learn it's Claudia, his grandmother. She asks if her daughter Regina is home. Bartosz is even more surprised, since his mother had always told him Claudia had died before he was born. Claudia isn't surprised by this lie. She explains that she wasn't a good mother and admits she can't blame Regina for saying Claudia was dead. Bartosz asks where she had been all these years. Claudia smiles wryly. That's a long story. She tells him she can't wait for Regina to come home, as there are things she needs to do. Before leaving, she gives Bartosz an old photo of herself with Regina as a teenager, from before that summer, when she made many mistakes. She confesses that if she could turn back time, she would have done things differently. Back at the nuclear plant, Hannah is giving Alexander a massage. Then suddenly, she places a familiar plastic bag on the desk in front of him, the same bag he buried in the forest in 1986. She asks softly if he recognizes it. Suddenly, her tone shifts. She talks about fairness, about how some people seem to have everything, while she can barely pay her bills. Then she makes her demand. She wants him to destroy Ulrich. Meanwhile, Jonas reaches home to find Martha waiting. He says he has to leave, and she asks why he's ignored her calls. After a pause, he admits it was wrong. They're not right for each other. She pulls him close in a quiet moment and asks if it's really so wrong. He nods, apologizes, and walks away, the tension lingering in the air. Meanwhile, Regina enters the room where the stranger stayed and sees the newspaper clipping and the triquetra symbol connecting the 3 years, 1953, 1986, and 2019. Meanwhile, Bartosz climbs into Noah's car and confirms that everything Noah predicted has come true. Noah then asks Bartosz if he's thought about his offer, to which Bartosz simply replies, yes. In the meantime, Claudia travels back to 1953 to visit H.G. Tannhaus and shows him blueprints for a portable time machine. She asks him to build it. So technically, Claudia has taken the blueprint from the future and asked Tannhaus to build it so that same blueprints can exist in the future. After realizing this, my brain is not braining right now.